This is the Clemson, Texas pregame college football live. I'm going to continue to name out words that makes it like it's part of the title. Pregame live show. I'm glad you're here. We're finally here. The game kicks off in, 40, 45 minutes. So the Tigers and the Longhorns get together in this first round of the college football playoff, first round of the expanded college football playoff. And this is going to be hopefully a more challenging, more competitive game than what some of these other games have been so far. Right now, SMU is getting absolutely embarrassed, but I'll get into that here in just a second. Welcome to Clemson. Well, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you are here. I'm trying not to pay attention to my phone too much so I can actually do the show, but welcome to the channel. If you like supporting independent media, guys like myself who just comes on and talk about Clemson football, talks about college football, I hope you will subscribe. I'm almost at 7,000 subscribers. I'm a relatively new channel, so if you want to support a channel for free, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button. Clemson and Texas kicks off, as I said, in about 40, 45 minutes. As the game gets closer and closer to kickoff, the line continues to grow in favor of Texas. When this opened up at, when the game was announced, it opened at 10.5 points. This morning it was 13 points. Now the spread is Texas as a 14-point favorite coming into this game. So that game, as I said, kicks off on TNT, 4 p.m. So let's talk about both of these teams. Let's talk about some of their schedules. I want to talk about Texas' schedule real quick because we can learn a lot from schedules. And you're like, Brian, why do you say we can learn a lot from schedules? Oh, man, one mouth and 60 thoughts. If you looked at this SMU team that's playing Penn State right now, that's literally getting the color blown out of their jerseys by a Penn State team that, by the way, I picked to win this game, but I'm not impressed with them. I'm not impressed with them when you look at the general landscape of college football. I'm not. But if you looked at the SMU team, you would go, oh, man, they really didn't play anyone. And now that anytime they play someone, they lose. So that's the reason I bring it up. Indiana, same thing there. So let's look at Texas's schedule. By the way, Longhorns fans, I'm glad you're here. A lot of you have been showing up on the channel. glad you're here. I would say good luck to you, but I don't think either one of us wants to have good luck, but we'll just say good game. Coming into this season, Texas, because of all the money that's poured into the program, because they're Texas, because they have a Manning, because they have all the talking points everybody's talking about, small media, big media, independent media, we know that the expectations are high, especially their inaugural season in the SEC. So they start off, every one of these games they won except for Georgia, okay? They played Colorado State, Michigan at the Big House, the team without their head coach that won it last year, the team without a lot of the talent that they had from last year that won the championship. They beat UTSA, UL Monroe, Mississippi State, Oklahoma. Then they played Georgia, lost to Georgia at home 30-15. It was 23-0 at halftime, if my memory serves me correct. Went out, played Vanderbilt the very next week, almost lost. Vanderbilt was on that weird thing they were doing where they were playing really, really good ball. They hammered Florida. They struggled with Arkansas. Arkansas is weird. Arkansas is weird because you remember they beat Tennessee in Fayetteville. This game was in Fayetteville. They struggled there. Texas beat Kentucky by 17 points. They beat Texas A&M by 10 points. They lost a couple of weeks ago in the SEC championship to Georgia, 22-19 in overtime. And now they're playing against a Clemson team that is questionable when it comes to offensive and defensive scheme for the entirety of the game. So today you look at Texas and you go, okay, man, they have the talent. And Sark can coach. They have the dogs here and there. They have the atmosphere. They have the home field advantage. They have all of these things that play into you having a great chance of beating the opposite team. But the thing that I look at with Clemson is something that Though I look at Clemson and I criticize them, and yet if you watch me all the time, you know my criticisms of Clemson, and I will bring it up in just a second. In fact, I just brought it up, their lack of being able to coach a full game, an entire game, from top to bottom, anticipate the changes, etc. The thing about Texas is you look at this game and you go, well, is Colorado, or you look at this team, excuse me, you look at Texas and you ask this question, who did they beat? Well, they beat Colorado State. They're not good. They beat Michigan. They're not good. They're the defending national champions. Yeah, without their head coach from last year, without a lot of that talent from last year. So, in theory, absolutely, they're the defending national champions without all the personnel that won them the national championship. They hammered UTSA. They're not good. UL Monroe, not good. Mississippi State, not good. Oklahoma, it's a rivalry, not good. Georgia's very good across the board with some head scratchers. It's hard to put your finger on which Georgia team's going to come out and play you, because there's the same team that almost lost to Kentucky. They only beat Mississippi State by 10 points in Athens. They turned around and beat the crap out of my team by 31 points. Yes, it was 6-0 at halftime, and they scored the points in the second half, but that's football. I mean, they had to play did Clemson not know they had to play a second half? They have to play a second half. You have to coach a second half. You have Vanderbilt, an up and down team. Florida, probably a surprise team for me that Billy Napier's still the head coach. Went to a bowl game, won the bowl game. I know it was a terrible bowl game, but considering, you beat an Arkansas team, not that great. A Kentucky team, not that great. Struggle with an A&M team, but I'll give it to you, you're in a rivalry. Then you go out and you play Georgia, and you lose to them. The point is, Clemson has more of a chance in this game than what a lot of people realizes. Clemson actually has a chance in this game. I think where you see this 14-point line coming from, as it's growing and growing and growing. Obviously, the whole betting and blah, blah, blah is playing into it, but I think the idea is that as people are sitting here and watching SMU get smoked, and as they're sitting back and they're watching Indiana last night prove that they shouldn't have been in the college football playoff. I know if some of you did not watch that game and you just saw the score, it was like, oh, that was a lot closer, 27-17. What is this buffoon talking about? This buffoon was watching the game when it was 27-3, and Notre Dame took their foot off the pedal. That game was not close. You watched the game, it was not close at all. Notre Dame didn't even play that well. They really didn't. And still won the ball game. And so I believe that there are more and more people who are looking at Indiana, SMU, and then they're going, oh, who's the other team that doesn't supposed to be there? Oh, yeah, the 9-3 regular season, 10-3 ACC team. They're not supposed to be there, right? No. Well, they won their conference championship. Well, good for them. And by the way, the Penn State game is over. Penn State wins 38-10. I'm going to get to that because there's something that happened in that Penn State SMU game that bothers me because, well, Clemson couldn't stop it, but Penn State immediately picked up on it. I'll get to that in a second. But a lot of people are believing that Clemson does not stand a chance in this game. Now, I picked Texas to win the game. But I said Clemson stands a chance in this game if they come in, they coach a complete football game, give the players something to work with. All right? Remember, players are kind of like employees of a business. Employees of a business can only do what their managers tell them. Yes, they can drop the ball. Yes, there's skin in the game. But the thing about players and employees, they can only go as far as their management and leadership will allow them. So if the management and leadership, they don't look ahead, they don't see what's coming down the pike, they don't realize that people are going to make adjustments here and there, that the industry is going to change, whatever example you want to give there. If they don't realize that, the players or the employees are basically at their mercy. So I believe Clemson's talent on the field can make this game a lot closer and even potentially win the game if the management, the coordinators, will coach a complete game and give them something to work with. Let's talk about what Penn State did. Let's talk about what Penn State did in this game against SMU and how this relates to Clemson. And this drives my concerns about Clemson's scheme defensively and offensively, but we'll stick with defensively. So in the ACC championship, Clemson was up by 17 points, and Kevin Jennings and Rhett Lashley, they started running this play where they would bring Brashard Smith, the wide receiver turned running back for SMU. They would bring him out of the backfield. They'd slip him out of the backfield, and then they'd throw a pass to him. They would do some variation of that. And it was just like Clemson had never seen anything like that. Now, you could say, well, the defensive players were running the scheme that they were told to run. You don't go out there and start mavericking it. You don't go out there and start going, hey, I know we just called this one play, or they called the play, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to do what I want to do. You don't do that. You'll get benched. So Clemson's defensive scheme did not account for this play, and they nickeled and dimed the Tigers up and down the field. SMU tried that with Penn State. They pick-sixed him. And then they picked him off again and on another route. It was a different play, but it was another route, another pass, picked it off, ran it back for a touchdown. So it bothers me that Penn State can sit there and watch footage of the offensive scheme for SMU and they go, oh, that's what they're doing. Well, we'll fix that. But the Clemson Tigers had a problem with it. And I'm hoping that today, as Clemson plays this game against Texas, I'm hoping that they'll step back, actually watch footage, and that the scheme is going to be a response to that. We know their bread and butter. We know some of the plays that they're going to run. They consistently run this type of play. We know their weaknesses, so we're not going to be caught off guard. And that bothers me that Penn State could pick up what SMU did, and Clemson couldn't. No matter how many times they ran it over and over and over. So that is a big concern for me coming into this game. I'm going to get in here and say hello to some people really, 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 really fast. Parker Henderson, my old buddy, let's go. Parker, thanks for supporting the channel. I see that symbol beside your name. Not only has he subscribed, he supports on a monthly basis, $3 or $5. Thank you so much, Parker. I appreciate it, man. I really, really do appreciate it. Somebody's asking me if I'm streaming the game. Unfortunately, no. You can find some people who are streaming the game on here, but what's funny is they're probably somewhere overseas, and I'm just being blunt because if you look at the channel names, and they will get away with it all the time. I'm not kidding. They'll have 60,000 people watching it. If I were to do it here and I were to stream it, I would receive some type of penalty from YouTube. So unless something has changed, you'll receive a penalty from YouTube. So I don't understand why someone that from somewhere else can stream it and they're not penalized, but I am. So unfortunately, no, but you can find it here. Those SEC commentators won an all-SEC playoff. Maybe next year we will have a pre-playoff for the honor of getting a chance to play an SEC team. Good to see you, Dale. Thank you for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Hey, Brian, who did you pick to win this game? The Clemson-Texas game, I picked, my heart says Clemson, but my football logic says Texas wins the ball game. I hate it. Hey, Haunt, thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Ham said Penn State's not that good. SMU is not prepared. So get in here, say hello to a few other people real quick. Jason Moon, good to see you. Got Hudson in here. Joseph Dorff, Jeremiah Allen. I got 18 cold PR. You crazy, man. Mall, Cop Fishing. I'm so nervous. Rustastic, I'm counting on you. I picked Clemson for the upset. Don't let me down. my friend. I wouldn't have done that. Texas is battle tested. Look for a blowout. Let me see. Go Tigers. I'm scared. If Clemson would have kept foot down, I'm a Clemson fan or a Tennessee fan about to head to the stadium. Congrats to you guys today. Hope y'all come out and do your thing. There was a bunch of you in here. Oh, Big John, how did I overlook you, Professor? Maybe we won't get embarrassed. We can win if we play 60 minutes of Tiger football. Been 5 years since we played 60 minutes of Tiger football. I think you just answered your I guess your rhetorical question. Yeah, Big John, thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's just I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm with you. Okay. Thanks for being in here, everybody. Thank you so much. Hey, listen, I am this close to 7,000 subscribers. So I look at my analytics, and my analytics has told me recently, it was like, you have had, over the videos over a period of time, I mean, right now you could have 10, 20, maybe even up to 50,000 new subscribers. So asking for 300, I don't think I'm asking too much. If you like to support independent media, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It is free. Right now, Matthew McConaughey and Dabo Swinney are shaking hands. This is crazy. I'm watching this. This is crazy. They're both laughing. You could probably get about 70 mottos between these two guys speaking in this one interaction. You could slap on coffee mugs and T-shirts for years. This is crazy. This is crazy. Shaking hands. This is wonderful. Wonderful moment for Clemson. Heck, I don't know if Clemson's going to win this game, but at least he got to beat McConaughey. That's great. Let's talk about the keys to the game. For some of you who didn't watch my preview for the Clemson game, here's what I look at with the Tigers. I believe in the talent on the field. I believe so much in a lot of the talent on the field. The key is to give those guys the ability to be productive, to give those guys the ability to be effective and take advantage of what Texas is bringing to the table. And here's what I would do if I were, or would have done, because we're right here at game time, preparing for this Texas game. I'd step back and I'd have looked at Georgia and I would have said, I would have asked, what did they do? What did Georgia do to win twice against the same team? Because you remember the old saying, it's hard to beat a good team twice. And Georgia did it. So you step back and you say, Georgia's different than Clemson in these areas, but they're the same in these areas. And that would be the areas that I would step back and say, hey, what can we pull from this? What can we learn from Georgia's approach to Texas? Let's go into the film and some of the games that Texas had a difficult time within those games. You know, I would want to see the film on the Vanderbilt game. I'd want to see the film on the Arkansas game. I'd want to see the film on the Texas A&M game and ask, what did they do to keep it within a 10-point spread? Vanderbilt only lost by 3 points. Arkansas and Texas A&M lost by 10. And so you could ask that question and lean towards what you're learning from those games. Why? Because they're recent games. You could look at Vanderbilt and say, okay, all right, that was October 26th. Georgia game back in October 19th. All right. But look at Florida, November the 9th. Arkansas, November the 16th. Not Florida. Florida, they blew out Florida. Look at Texas A&M on November the 30th. You know, that was what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. You can learn a lot from that game. What can you bring against Texas that worked for these teams? And that's what I would do. I would ask, what can we implement there? Next, I'm telling you, this comes down to allowing Cade to go out and have the creative plays that he can live within. He can thrive within. Use the excitement that he's back home there in Austin. Use the excitement that he's playing against former teammates. old rivals like Quinn Ewers. Use that and step back, and instead of coming into this game like Clemson has done in so many big games when they're playing really good talent, when Clemson is playing really good talent, what do? Clemson goes into a ball game and they start to clam up. They clammed up against Georgia. Louisville, once they got out to a 26-7 lead, 23-7 lead, something like that, what did Clemson do? Clemson started moving at a snail's pace. You would have thought they were up by 2 touchdowns trying to just run out the clock. What happened against SMU? The point here, bringing up these games, is to ask yourself, what did you do in those games that made you lose? And then don't do that thing here. In the self-help community, and I know a lot of it's a bunch of bullcrap, but when you get with someone or you read books by people who are actually truly trying to help people, troubleshooting is one of the number one things you have to do. You have to be honest with yourself. Do you see patterns here? Do you see a pattern that when you get in this situation, you always respond here and it's always bad? So what do you step back and do? You say, hey, I try first not to get into that situation. Like if you're someone, and I'm going to try not to bring something touchy. Let's just say someone's trying to watch how much sugar they eat because maybe they have a glucose level problems. So what do? You anticipate that when you go to the birthday party, they're going to have that cake there, or that pie, or that whatever that you really, really like. You already know going in you can't have it. You don't need it. So you go in with a plan knowing, and I know for some of you, you're like, Brian, you're losing me. No, I'm sitting here, literally, follow me. You go in knowing that if you feed your face that cake, guess what? Through the roof, glucose levels, hello, diabetic booties. So what do? You step back and go, you make a plan B. Oh, I brought up my own snack. I'm not hungry. No, thank you. You already worked through it to where you don't give in. Yes, I could have given other examples, but to me, they felt a little dark, okay? But my point in saying all of this is that that's what Clemson has to do. That's what Clemson has to do when they look at their football team and they say, hey, we want to win this game in Austin, Texas today. Then let's look at the games you lost. Let's look at the game you almost lost in the ACC championship against a team that just got throttled. Shouldn't have been in the college football playoff. Sorry, folks. Sorry. We're all realizing they shouldn't. I knew it. I felt it. I didn't feel like SMU should have been in. I think I even said they should have been in, and I was wrong. I was wrong for that, but I didn't pick them to win, by the way. I think I had an epiphany there. Remembrance. But folks, I'm going to tell you this. Indiana shouldn't have been in. Why? Look at who they didn't play. Look at how they played when they played someone. They lost every time. SMU didn't play Clemson in the regular season, didn't play Miami in the regular season. Shouldn't have been in. We all knew it. But after every season, after every flipping football season, guess what happens? Every one of us gets amnesia and we forget football logic. We forget the lessons that we learned. And then we start doing this weird thing where we go, well, it's a new season. It's like something's twitching out inside of you. You're starting to short circuit inside your head. Like I know what I'm saying is a lie, but I'm choosing to be not naive. You're short circuiting. Somebody poured water on your motherboard and it fries your logic. And then, well, we've always got next season. Says overly medicated person. My point in saying this is that those teams shouldn't have been there. And right now, everybody's saying the same thing about Clemson. But is it because of their players, or is it because of their lack of consistent coaching across the board? It's the coaching. So if Clemson wins this ball game. If they win this flipping ball game, guess what? It's because they actually coached a complete football game on both sides of the ball. Yes, folks. I semi-lost it there. Got some, let me see. Clemson defense will be the key. Send the heat to Ewers and try to force a few turnovers. I like that. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, SEC Dog, in here talking some. You haven't even talked trash yet, or I haven't ran up and seen. Yeah. It's good to see you in here. Let me go on up here. Rich news: Clemson's going to get blown out by 40. Hopefully not rich news in sports. If football logic were a real thing, both Clemson and South Carolina would have been in. Hey, I believe South Carolina should have been in the college football playoff. I really do. I really do, Big Red. Hope we rise again, but we need changes in the coaching staff. And unfortunately, I think you're right. Here's a great one from Dummy. Yeah, I feel like Clemson shouldn't have been in. Matter of fact, I know they shouldn't have been in. If Clemson goes out there and they get their head ripped off, this is going to be bad for the program. I hope they don't. I hope that they'll just at least and me, if you watch me all the time, you know that I don't have that whole loser mentality thing. Like, I'm a guy that goes out and says, "Hey, we should win. We should flip and win." It's just, I mean, but if they can go into this game and they can just get out and it be a semi-close game, I think we'll get lucky again. And you're like, Brian, hold on, which one is it? That's how much I don't believe in our coaching scheme. Really. That's how much I don't believe in our coaching scheme. Our coaching on the offensive and defensive side of the ball has kept us so far out of certain ball games that we should have won. Games we should have, even if we lost, we should have been in more than they should have. Nothing has changed, folks. Austin Garrett's in here. Since I was born in 1972, got some good trash talk going on here. Jeff Laughlin, key, my friend. Please avoid a fourth quarter meltdown. Yes. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Michael Butler, much love and good luck to the Clemson Tigers, coming from our own Clemson family in New Jersey. All in. Hey, Michelle Butler. I'm sorry. Sorry, Michelle. Michelle Butler, thank you so much for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. I see that symbol beside your name. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Means a lot to me going up through here, seeing it here. Just woke up in time for the game to start. Go Tigers. Let's skin some cows. Yeah. Hey, I like my steak medium rare. Medium. According to what cut it is. So I'll take a steak right now. I'll take it, my friend. Stub my pinky toe. Sup, Brian? Good to see you. Until y'all get it through your heads, Clemson coaches are absolutely garbage. Truett's just coming on in here. All right. That just happened, y'all. I know that a lot of people probably get on here and be like, man, man, I just wish that you were a little more upbeat about this game. Folks, this is really cool for the school. I mean, it really is cool for the school, and it's cool for the players. I just have a hard time relaxing and enjoying it. I mean, just after watching SMU play, after watching Indiana play, what happened, and then the team out of all of them, that it's being said about, hey, Clemson shouldn't be in. Clemson's about to play, and it's bothering me. It's bothering me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Clemson wins this ball game, because if this does turn into a blowout, there's going to be some of you will do it because some of you have. There's going to be some of you who will never admit it, to me, but they're going to come back and go, hey, you warned us that if Clemson goes to the college football playoff and they get the crap beat out of them, that it could create some major problems for the team. The only way that that could work in Clemson's favor is if you have another West Virginia situation where if Clemson gets manhandled, Swinney would have to be forced to see the handwriting on the wall and make some changes, to the proper positions based on whoever had the lackluster performance. So it's just absolutely, it's just one of those deals, man. Audrey Smith, Wes and Garrett need to keep the foot on the gas. Amen and amen. You nailed it. SE guy here, Brian, good luck in the game. Good luck in the game. I know we have this is a Clemson pregame, but we'll give you the score, talk a little bit about this SMU Penn State game. Just hang with me for a second. Penn State 138-10. Kevin Jennings threw 3 interceptions. 2 of those were pick sixes. Brashard Smith, a guy who rushed for almost 1,200 yards, he had 18 carries, 62 yards. And that whole slipping the wide receiver out, or not the wide receiver, the running back out of the backfield, that seemed Clemson just kept watching them do it over and over and over. Credit Penn State, they just stepped back and they were like, nope, you're not going to do that to us. And they intercepted it and took it to the house. So towards the end of the game, you could tell that SMU had totally mentally tapped out of the ball game. Jennings was throwing passes to wide open guys, and they were just dropping it. They were just dropping wide open passes, and it was 28-0 at halftime. It's 28-0 at halftime. Now, credit SMU's defense because it was another scenario where they were playing hard while their offense was giving up points. I mean, it's hard to play defense when your offense is giving up points, and I think that when you look at, no excuses, no this, no that, that's great, that's wonderful. When your offense is giving up points, your defense is just, they're just, wish them the best. But yeah, SMU, Penn State had no problem stopping SMU. This was yet another game that didn't look like a playoff game. This looked like a good old-fashioned mid-season cross-conference meetup where the Big Ten went in and played the ACC and beat the living trash out of them. And I'm not overly impressed with Penn State, but it was a really, really bad look. It was a really, really bad look. That's terrible. That was awful. Then, of course, last night, let me see. Hold on one second. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, last night, Notre Dame and Indiana played. And if you saw that score and you're like, that was a little closer game. Notre Dame won by 10. It was 27-3 in the fourth quarter. And once again, looked like another game that you would not say is in the major postseason play. You would say, that was a cross-conference. I know Notre Dame's not in a conference, but you know what I mean. Game, and Notre Dame beat them. It was no big deal. So it's just one of those deals where it was, as a Clemson fan, it makes me more nervous. It makes me more nervous coming into this game because you don't want your Tigers to get the crap beat out of them. You don't. And so you're sitting there trying to think of nice things to say, and you just keep coming back to, man, I'm really wishing something will happen that hasn't happened all season. So anyway, let's try to talk about some good things right here. I'm hoping that Clemson will stretch the field the entirety of the ball game. And 2 things happen. A, you can hit the big passes over the top, take advantage of the really good wide receivers. Why have good wide receivers if you're not going to try to stretch the field? Why even have them? Next, when you stretch the field and everybody's spread out, guess what happens if you have a mobile quarterback? He has the lanes to run. And if you just hit the defense in the right spot, suddenly they're confused and they don't know if you're going to take off running, you're going to throw the ball, and you can take advantage of that confusion. They're kind of stunned. You've kind of punched them in the face and they're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. That is what type of game plan that I hope to see for the entirety of the game. Or what is Texas giving you? And you take advantage of it, and if they don't adjust, or if they make their adjustment, you see the alternate route. That's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to see a big game from T.J. Parker, Peter Woods, Sammy Brown, Avion Terrell on the defensive side of the football. We need to hit Quinn Ewers. We need to hit him hard. Nothing dirty. I don't want cheap shots. But Clemson needs to hit him and hit him hard. They need to encourage the whispers within the stadium of put Arch in. Y'all got to put Arch in. Like that needs to start to get into Quinn Ewers' head. Arch. Why am I hearing about Arch? We're in the college football playoff, and I've led us here, and I'm playing against a guy I couldn't beat in the state championship in 6A Texas football, and this is his homecoming, and he has family and friends here, and I have family and friends here. Why am I hearing about this Manning guy? That's where, if you're a Clemson defense, that's where you want to put Quinn Ewers. You want to hit him hard. You want to create some mistakes early on. You want to take advantage of those mistakes. You want to take the home field out of it as early as possible. You want to take you want to take them out of it, but you have to continue to score points. That's going to be another key for Clemson. If you get up by, say, 10 points, don't play not to lose. You have to play to win. Take their head off, for goodness flipping sakes. You have to take their head off. So if I'm Clemson, I am I'm focusing on that. One of the keys too is I want to see how much we get Keith Adams Jr. involved. Keith Adams Jr. has been underused this entire season, and I don't know if he's been banged up, and we don't know about it. I don't know if they've had some type of issue with him. But Keith Adams Jr. was coming into his own, and then Jay Haynes comes in, and I'm not knocking him, which I know he's injured and so on. And I wish him a speedy recovery. But it was all of a sudden, it was like Keith Adams Jr. didn't exist, and today he does. In the first round of the college football playoff. And folks, this is what I tell you all the time. You have to be careful. You have to be careful who you limit playing time. Because it may bite you in the butt. And Jay Haynes was never... was never a physical back. Now, listen, I'm not knocking Jay Haynes. What I'm saying is right now where Clemson's offensive line is at and where it's continuing to grow, you can have a home run threat like that. But right now you still like Jay Haynes, but you need someone who can still lower their shoulder and run through small gaps. And that sounds like Keith Adams Jr. all day long. That doesn't sound like Jay Haynes. And a lot of people will say, well, if he ever slips that gap, yeah. How many times has he slipped that gap? Again, I'm not knocking Jay Haynes. I'm not. I'm just saying, I'm asking, how many times did he slip that gap? So in this game, Clemson really needs to focus on just being explosive and hitting Quinn Ewers, hitting Quinn Ewers, hitting Quinn Ewers, hitting Quinn Ewers. And I haven't looked. Is Isaiah Bond, is he still out of the game? Last I saw, he was doubtful for the game. Anybody drop that in the comments section? The game's going to kick off. It says it starts at 4:00, but it's the kickoff is actually about 4:10, somewhere in there. So that's the reason I'm staying live right now. I'll close down here in just a second, and I'll see you at halftime as long as nothing happens. But when I say that, I mean, I've been on here when Clemson's, was losing and still come back here. So what I mean by that is just as long as nothing keeps me from going live. The real key here, key here is for Clemson is to go in here and be aggressive from the kickoff to the ending, the very end. You can't stop, and you have to know that. You have to know that the changes are coming. You get to this level of football, folks. You get to this level of football, it is a duh statement that the other team is going to adjust. So we know the adjustment is coming to whatever Clemson is doing offensively and defensively. The question is, are we ready to counter that with something that is effective? So looking for a big game, looking for a really, really big game from TJ Parker. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Peter Woods go out there and do his thing. I'm hoping to see Sammy Brown get a lot of playing time. This guy can really, really play. I mean, he's got the ability. He has the playability. And I really want to see, I really want to see some of the leaders on our team, whether they're underclassmen or they're fifth-year senior. I really want to see them step up in this ball game, no matter what position they're playing, because you need to understand that the guys who won the championships, like last year, you still had guys who won a championship in 2018. They were still on the team. They're gone now. So I'm sitting here watching the highlights of the bad things that happened for Clemson this year, and then it shows that 56-yard kick by a true freshman. You're sitting there looking at this, and you're hoping your feelings that Clemson would just come out and take care of business by learning from these things. And so, folks, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get fired up, watch the ball game. It is good to it's good to see y'all. The game starts any moment now. Fred Johnson. It starts in about 3 to 5 minutes. The game will kick off. I'll see y'all here at halftime. Hope all of y'all will be back. If you haven't subscribed, I am this close to 7,000 subscribers. Hope you'll hit the subscribe button. Remember, it is free. If you want to support independent media like myself, I hope you'll do that. Y'all take care of yourself. See you at halftime. Go Tigers.